You can't, you really don't know it.
You don't?
I really didn't. I had plenty of energy. I had, nothing was bothering me. And I just didn't notice it. The only thing I knew this time, when I went for this last stint, I knew there was a problem of some kind because I was sitting on the couch at home and my chest just started aching. It was hurting. And I hadn't even been exercising. So that's what did it. Yeah. You just never know.
The interesting, as I described mine, we get used to how Hollywood presents your typical heart attack symptom, but they mostly shows that classic kind of, Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you kind of thing. But that wasn't what happened. For me, fortunately, I had already become aware through newspapers that there are different ways that a heart attack presents, especially for women. And mine was closer to that experience. There was enough. I had enough of that I was able to put the rest of it together. And once I looking something up on my phone with the Heart Association symptoms, and once I saw how many of them I had, that was when I said, okay, call them. But yeah, it's just not always the same thing.
The last stint, that's the only time I ever had a symptom.
Really?
I didn't. For the bypass and the first stint, I had no symptoms at all.
So you said I sat down on the couch.
Yeah. And I hadn't even been exercising hardly at all.
My heart, my chest started aching.
Yeah. And I said, I'm not messing with this. We're going to the hospital. Yeah, I first started to have issues with my heart in 2010. I found out about my heart condition by coming here to the hospital. At that time, they were doing calcium testing.
Okay.
And that's when I found out I had a problem because they said if the score was over 400, you got problems. Okay. And I was 1,400.
Oh, okay.
So at that time, they sent me to Bryan in Lincoln, and they did a heart cath, found 5 blockages, 90% blockages.
Ooh. You don't call it Widowmaker for nothing, I know. But if you found more than that, then I could have ended up being shipped down the road. But fortunately, they were able to, my situation was such that they were able to do what they needed to do here. And from what I understand, that's not possible in much of Nebraska. I'm not even sure it is necessarily at Regional West in Scotts Bluff, from what I know.
You're right, I don't think they do.
Yeah.
When I started here in 05, I think they were only doing diagnostic heart caths. That's when NHI was
coming in
here in the hospital. Dr.
Right.
Heyrig's office, I think he was here in the hospital, and then he could only do diagnostic. He couldn't put stents in. So if they needed any intervention, they had to ship them to Lincoln.
2011 is when they were first able to do interventional procedures.
Okay.
Prior to that, like Stacy said, it was all diagnostic.
Right.
And if they found anything, they had to ship them out. But 2011 is when our cath lab started.
Do you still have to send bypass surgeries down the road?
Yes.
Okay. The fact that if you've been doing this kind of exercising for about 13 years and that you've had a couple more incidents since then, shows that even cardiac rehab is not the thing that going through it is not, it's not saying, okay, you'll never go through this again.
Right.
That's not the case.
That
You could
is
still
correct.
I could still have that happen,
Yes.
and you certainly have still had that happen. But it's a matter of improving your odds,
Right.
right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
We got guys that do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They're here at 6 in the morning, and
Waiting to get in at 6:30.
Are you one of those, Jack?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like to get it done early.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Get on with the rest of
but
your
it
day.
seems like they've developed the friendships. So it may be more of a social. I think it's both. How
I
about
think it's
that?
both,
Right.
yeah.
Exercise
Yeah.
and social hour.
Correct.
What time do you usually come, Jack?
6:30. A big portion of it is diet. I mean, yes, you need to exercise, but very little of weight loss is actually the exercise alone.
Right. Okay. Still eating what you want to eat?
I pretty much so. But I've cut down on a lot of the fried foods and a lot of starches and stuff.